remembers those commercials with Carl Holman. Hi, everybody. I am the brewmaster from, I don't know, what was his beer? Can't remember. Anyway, look, I was reading an article the other day, a political article, that said that Steve Bannon, that guy who just got kicked out of the White House, that he was tweeting a lot. He was on Twitter, and in every one of his tweets, he was quoting Taylor Swift's, that's hard to say, Taylor Swift's new song. Anyway, so I went to YouTube to take a look at her video, and there she was in full bondage gear with a little riding crop in her hand and a big fat collar around her neck that had a big iron loop in it for a chain. Can you imagine that? Would you want to see your daughter dressed up like that in public? Anyway, so I asked off my Facebook group if people would hire somebody who had a bondage video on her Facebook page, potential candidate. Everybody said yes. Okay? There was only one reason that some people gave for rejecting the candidate. They said if she was too stupid to set her Facebook page to private, they didn't want her, right? I understand that, but I have to say, I was a bit surprised because, these people, I assume, the people who are reading my page, it's an ambulance going by. Anyway, they grew up on Amy Grant and Tiffany, and you know what? I don't remember them wearing bondage gear. I don't remember Blossom wearing bondage gear, right? But here's the lesson. As our former Prime Minister, I'm in Canada, our former Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau once said, the state has no place in the bedrooms of the nation. And today, most people seem to believe that's true, right? And if you want to hear more about what Prime Minister Trudeau said, let me tell you, you've come to the right place on Jerry
the recruiting animal.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. You know where Jerry is? He's at the orthodontist. Not for himself. He's a little too old for that. It's for his kid. Let me ask a question. It's an important question. Is Bill Boorman here by any chance? Is Bill Boorman here by any chance? He's only the guest today. Is Bill Boorman here?
Oh, really? But let's talk about recruiting. So here's a tough one for you. What is the initial salary negotiation? When should you first ask someone about their salary?
I would say end of first call.
Before the call ends.
First, I'm going to learn more about you. Then we're going to learn more about the opportunities. And then we're going to talk money, because why burn additional calories about, talking about an opportunity that is never going to be a fit financially?
That's a good point. It's hard to hear.
Like you just said, shouldn't you ask about the money sooner?
Well,
I can't hear you.
An hour.
Well, I'm okay with wasting an hour and not talking about, killing this opportunity because there isn't a financial match. But at least we figured out where this candidate needs to be, and we learn more about their career, and then we can consider them in the future.
So what level of person are you talking to? What's their general salary range?
Again, it depends on the position. If it's an account executive position, it's going to be, $65,000 to $100,000. And then if it's a higher level position,
somebody you're talking to, you still wait for the end of that call. Would you be different if they were a $12 an hour cabler?
Oh, if it was a very, if it was something like $12, $15, $20 an hour, then no, we would have that conversation. We would cover that earlier in the conversation.
And what if they were a $2 million CEO? Would you still have that conversation, the financial one at the beginning?
Probably yes. In the first call, yes.
So I think that's something we tend to miss. Who you're talking to, it changes. The higher up the scale, the more you want to build that relationship with them. The lower down.
Can I ask what you're talking about? I mean, I've been listening for 5 minutes and I don't have a clue.
We're talking about money.
When you
money.
Ask someone about salary.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So go ahead. I'll listen for a while.
Well, most people say within the first call. Some do it at the beginning, some do it at the very end. The question is, well, in specific, what level are you looking at? I mean, if you're calling someone and it's a 10-minute call for cabling, you ask right away. That's all they care about. $12 or $12.50. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I used to recruit from much higher level sales positions where it was $500,000 to, on the low end, maybe $300,000. We would still have that conversation up front.
Is that because you can work with them down the road? And you'll probably still have more jobs for them?
Yes, and also because the level of position would change depending on the caliber of the candidate. So if that candidate started talking about, well, I'm currently at, and I can prove with W-2s over the past several years that I am at, $600,000, or that's where I will be if I'm at 100%, then the position can change.
So what you're saying is if someone makes more money and you can make more money off of them, you'll actually treat them like a human being. But if they're just transactional, you're not really interested in a long-term conversation with a guy hanging drywall or a temp secretary. You don't need to know a lot about them long-term. You just need to know, do you want the job or not?
No, because let's say the money is off for a guy that's earning $15 and the position that I'm currently recruiting for is $12 an hour, then I do want to stay in contact with that individual moving forward and, as you said, treat them like a human being, because there will be an opportunity that comes up in the future.
What about you, Maureen? You said you get it right out in the beginning.
I want to have it in the first call, that conversation. I want to know if we're in the ballpark, if we're can continue to have a conversation.
So do you have second and third conversations, or is when you're sourcing, you're just getting those first names?
I don't have recruiting conversations when I'm sourcing.
No.
But Maureen, hold on. Maureen does go in and do sort of a bit of candidate development sometimes. It's an add-on service that she offers. And do you ever talk to them about money? Do you ever ask them what kind of money? What do you say? What do you say?
I'll ask them what kind of how would I put it? It depends on what type of position we're talking about, but what type of compensation do they need to have going forward, or where are they? It just depends on how the conversation is unwinding when I'm doing the profile.
I got a question going back to Michael G. Cox. You said you asked them for, what do you guys call it in the States, your W-2?
Yeah. Not in my current position, but at a previous employer, it was part of the business case.
How do you do that? How do you do that? You say, the guy says, I'm earning $100,000. You say, well, I'm going to need proof of that. Is that what you say?
Well, I'll not in those words, but at the end of the conversation, I'll say, now, as we move forward, one of the requirements that I have to provide to my decision makers is they have to have copies of your W-2s for the past 3 years. And are you okay with sharing that? Are you prepared to be able to share that information? And more often than not, I got the okay. There might have been like 2 or 3 individuals that just said, no, I can't do that. And it wasn't.
What kind of positions are you recruiting for that are asking for that?
Those were sales positions at a large value-added reseller for IBM, Dell, HP, Red Hat, and so many others. But
heavy commission.
Yes, and
okay. That makes sense then.
So it was not to determine what we are going to pay, because in those larger type individuals that we're trying to recruit, they usually weren't interested in base salaries. They wanted to hear about points, percentages, things like that. So it wasn't to gauge the what we would be paying. It was to measure their previous success. And really what that told us is, okay, this individual at this level has this sort of relationship with the types of organizations that we want to have relationships with.
Okay, so they're not like hold on, they're not like the president. They didn't get upset or resistant when you asked them to prove their earnings, right? They did it. People don't mind doing that.
I can only remember once. It must have happened a few times, but I can only remember once when one individual got upset about that question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hey, Animal. Paul Lipman.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Hey. I do the same thing because I do the same type of role with sales especially. A lot of times they're highly commissioned positions. They want to keep the guys whole, so they'll want to know what did this guy make. And sometimes I'll ask, hey, where are you at? I don't even talk dollars. I say, where are you at? What do you need? Can you back it up with a W-2 if need be? Boom. Make it very matter of fact, and I rarely get pushback. And if they say no, I'll just say, that's fair. Why not? Just ask them why. And that pushes them into determining whether or not they're serious or they're bullshitting or not.
Okay, but what do you mean you don't talk dollars? You're talking money. What do
I
you mean you
don't
don't
use
talk
the
dollars?
term. I don't use the word money. I try to use. I make it very matter of fact, and I don't use the word. What do you make? What? How much do you make in dollars? I say, where are you at? Financially.
I'm in Toledo. Financially.
No,
okay.
I say financially. Where are you at? And they get it. With sales guys, they know exactly what you're talking about. Because you'll talk about quotas. You say, okay, what's your quota? Great. Did you make 100% quota? Great. What did that land you? What kind of? Well, sometimes I will say money, but rarely. I'll say, so what did that get you? Boom.
So how many times do they turn around and ask you? Or they say, well, I got about $60 million in the pipeline that hasn't closed yet. When you ask about compensation. Great to hear that. How much have you closed? Pipeline. Whenever I hear the word pipeline, or anything like that in sales guys, my ears perk up and I say, this guy's not closing. But
no, exactly. Well, it's like a startup company being pre-revenue. That's called I'm not making any money.
That's okay.
Right.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
With being pre-revenue?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Shut your mouth.
Another thing, it's funny, when you talk about sales guys, another thing is they use the term we versus I. You have to really listen to it. This is what we did. Oh, well, I'm like, great. Well, what did you do? Even with other, not just sales, but developers too, or anything like that. What did you do specifically?
That's a tough one.
We'll talk about.
People are taught not to talk about themselves. And so sometimes that happens in marketing all the time. And you really dig in.
Not to talk about themselves. I play sales guys too.
Who's there in the background? Who's talking in the background?
It's Rich Rose.
Well, talk. What happened to your famous phone? We can barely hear
I'm
you.
on my cell phone.
You need better service.
It's an AT&T.
I think he said AT&T.
Yeah, it's an AT&T phone. We don't get great service up here in Boston.
And we can't hear you now.
I can hear him now.
You're on speaker.
Okay. Hey, Jim. So, Jim, you're doing a good job. Keep going. Let me do an ad. Do you have another question, Jim, that you think would be good?
I'll come up with another one.
Okay, but let me do an ad in the meantime. Hey, everybody. Recruiting Animal here. The show's finally on the road, thanks to my wonderful callers, okay? Anyway, there's been a lot of talk lately about diversity. So I want to tell you something about my sponsor, BC Recruiter. They are the most diverse and inclusive recruiting software around. And you know why? Because size, you guys should know already, I'm hammering this into you every week. Size doesn't matter at PC Recruiter. Big or small, they fit them all. That's what they say, big or small, we fit them all. PC Recruiter, they make software that can be used by big recruiting teams and small recruiting teams. That's right, friends. No one is excluded at PC Recruiter. You can be a solo recruiter and only use a few of the features. You can be a giant company and use everything. You know what? If you need service, they're going to take care of you. You know why? Because they love you. Just like, who used to say that? The Mickey Mouse Show? Why? Because we love you. and they want to take care of you. Okay? So remember, PC Recruiter, size doesn't matter. Check them out at pcrecruiter.net. Okay. Is that a good ad? Let me tell you. Should I improve that ad? Or just...
Pretty good.
Okay.
It's straightforward. Hey, if someone's walking right now, maybe pop your phone on mute because we can hear the
yeah, I can hear
the
it
wind
too.
whipping through it.
Okay, what's your next question, Bill? Bill, how can I punish Bill Borman? What am I going to do? I couldn't punish him last time. There's nothing I could do. Okay, but anyway, maybe the show's better without him. Hey, that's what I'll go around saying. Bill didn't show up, and I'm happy he didn't come here. Okay? What's the next question, Jim?
How about how people are dealing with the new LinkedIn? Are they seeing? Are they having problems with it? Are they adjusted? It's been 8 months now. How many people are still using it on a daily basis? And are paying for it versus free?
I pay for it. Everybody says you can get it.
I use it daily, and I use the free version. I wouldn't pay for it.
Basic business account. You could do 90% of what you could do before.
The person
you want to be more specific, Jim? Make them be more specific.
So the person said they use it daily. Who is that?
It's Brian.
Was that me? Paul?
No, it's Brian. Brian, we'll come back to the second
Brian.
one. So, Brian, are you just looking for an individual, or do you go inside LinkedIn and do searches with your free account?
Both.
Because I do that all the time. I got stuck. They have the new thing when you're doing your basic search, where all of your filters reset anytime you change the search function. It drives me crazy.
Right.
They continue to restrict it for the basic accounts. I found that pretty interesting. What about who else uses it daily on a paid version?
I use the basic paid version. What is the Business Pro? I guess it is, not the Recruiter Lite.
Right.
And you're right.
Searches, but you don't use the actual the upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, I started using these keywords, and they're starting to work out pretty well. The little keyword searches. I mean, I've done Boolean a lot, but sometimes it's just easier to go in and just do the little keywords here. You could do Boolean in the keywords. I didn't realize you could do that, but that works pretty nicely.
Even Google's changed those. So I'm sure people are aware of this. The Google algorithm changes on a regular basis, and it focuses on immediacy. I'm seeing less and less results from LinkedIn. It's funny, I can see more member URLs, but finding anything else on that platform, or even doing in-text searches, they're graying out a good portion of what you can
why
find.
is that? Why is that? Because of Google, or because LinkedIn and because they're collaborating to make it unavailable? What's going on?
It's a mix. So Google doesn't change their algorithm for LinkedIn. But LinkedIn was built on very old technology that worked great with the Google of 2010. Every time they upgrade, they're going to lose something, and they have to be careful because so much of their traffic comes from search. But LinkedIn wants you to start hanging out on their platform now, which is different than before when it was just a place to, you log in once a month. So Bing hasn't caught up yet. I found that interesting. I actually don't do a good job sourcing on Bing. I probably have to relearn. But you need to make sure that you are it's funny, these new tools do a great job. Sometimes they actually do a better job. I was just playing with HireTool the other day, one of your sponsors. It builds some pretty good Boolean searches inside LinkedIn, which is it just helps you think of it in a different way. The concern is that's great until it doesn't,
But they're constantly moving. But you can talk about HireTool during the ad, okay? I have a question. I have a question. Sorry, Nin. Okay, I have a question because I thought we were going to go off topic. Bill Borman, he goes. Does everybody hear all that noise, or is it just me? Okay, but Bill Borman travels the world going to these true conferences, and I was going to ask him what are the hot issues these days. So I looked up some articles from last December saying what are the trends in recruiting in 2017, because what we're talking about here is nitty-gritty recruiting. how much are you earning? How do you ask them that? You know, what happens? How do you actually search on LinkedIn? What do you do? You know, which account is best for you? We ask nitty-gritty questions here, but when people are talking about trends, it's always is mobile still a big issue? AI, is it going to do something? I don't know anything about AI except these have these chatbots. So I'm wondering, does anybody have an idea of what are the hot issues for them in recruiting? Does anybody have anything specific?
It's the personal touch. If you look at all the conferences, they were all AI and automation in the spring, and all of them in the fall are about getting back to human, getting back to personal touch. Because what they realize is that AI is cool, but it's a lot further away than people think. And this sitting around waiting for AI to take all of our jobs while we sit on the beach is so far away. If you're not training yourself at this point individually, just getting on the phone, getting on the phone and talking to people, interviewing people live, the challenge is you'll lose your job long before the robot takes it.
You know, I was hoping. Oh, Jerry's here. Just when I was going to ask his question. Jerry.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Look, Jim Durbin's here. I got the two guys. We're having a fight on the Facebook group. Okay. I'm going to set.
You have the nerve to bring that man onto this show after everything that we've gone through this morning.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
I'm going to set this up. A third-party recruiter sends out a great resume to a company that's going to see that and get excited. Actually, he faxed it out, and so when the internal recruiter saw it, he decided he's going to get in touch with her. He sends her an email, and she writes back, "Oh, I already got a job through this recruiter. I know he's got a lot more people like me." Okay, Jim Durbin thinks that's a legit way to pick up business. Jerry thinks it's terrible. Am I right about that?
Yep. No, not to say legit. I said it was interesting. Big difference.
Okay, so you're giving in to Jerry already. There's no fight at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. Jerry says it's horrible and these people should be beaten and taken into the square.
Absolutely.
Tattooed on their chest.
There is no place for that in our industry. And we as an industry need to stand up in the face of that kind of crap and say, no way, no more. We really do. We can't think, oh, well, it's not all bad. No, that's all bad. All of it.
There are a lot of people that stood on principle that are no longer in this industry. So the question is, those other things, that the key was that the internal recruiter looked at that resume and called or emailed or whatever Stephen did. It created an action. So what can you learn
there
from
are
that?
Recruiters who send out resumes and say, hey, check this person out. I mean,
it was good enough that he wanted to.
Some people like that. I'm not entirely against, depending on the situation. But the whole thing was fake. It wasn't even a real person.
Now Jerry's like, well, I always demand a signed contract, but on occasion I consider being something different.
No, I never do that. I'm saying that some people do, and I'm less concerned about sending the resume of a candidate to a company. Who knows what kind of relationship they have? I mean, how'd they get the fax number? Have they ever talked before? I mean, there's a bunch of questions behind that. Then I am of just saying,
Jerry, I gotta enlighten you. It's not hard to get a fax number, okay? Okay, that's one thing I know how to find, a fax number. But you know what? This is going nowhere. The only issue I think that you raised that's legitimate is that might have been a fake resume. They're like a fake profile. There's nobody that ever existed like that woman that he sent out. So there's no candidate. It's not true. You give them a search, and then they have to start from scratch. They don't have that kind of person at their fingertips. Okay, end of story.
Okay, great.
End of story. Jim, do you have another question? I've got lots of questions, but if you got some, I'm open.
Keep it going, Jim. Keep it going.
Well, I wonder, is anyone using AI right now? Is anyone using any AI project they're aware of?
No. Most of my intelligence is artificial.
Yeah, okay.
Well, not made up, not fake intelligence. Clearly,
wouldn't that work well for commodity hiring? I mean, at the executive level, it doesn't make much sense necessarily. But wouldn't that make more sense at the commodity level, where there's a lot of candidates? Well, where there's a lot of candidates. Where you know at the where they're lower salary
Truck
positions.
driver.
Where there's those types of positions.
Well, there are people
what are
using
you talking
chatbots
about?
for that. And there are a number of pilots that are out there working just on those kind of high volume.
Hold on a
jobs.
second.
Like airline
Audra
pilots?
Knight. Wait a second. Audra Knight is still saying that my audio is still terrible. I'm on the phone. Is it bad? Is my audio bad?
That might have been an old comment.
It's much
It
better.
should have been a comment from 2011.
It's from 7 seconds ago.
We never know.
Hey, Animal, when you're in direct, everybody on a phone sounds weird. It's much different than when you call in.
Right. Don't project your problems onto your audio. You're the one struggling, not your audio.
Okay. So let me just see. Okay. So thank you, Jim. It sounds like you've run out of stuff. Okay. Paul Lipman, are you still here? Paul
Yes,
Lipman,
I
you still
am.
on the phone? What are your top 5 extensions? What are your 5 favorite extensions? Are you an extension man?
Jim, do you have another question?
I sometimes strap a few extensions on. Let's see here.
Which one?
I've been using HireTool a little bit. I use this product called Interstellar, which allows me to capture email addresses and then put them right into a email campaign off of LinkedIn, which is a kind of a cool tool.
And that's not a dangerous. It's not getting you put in LinkedIn jail.
Nope.
What?
Nope,
How do you
not yet.
How do you spell it for us?
Interstellar.
Interstellar. INTERSELLER.
Yep.
I never heard of it. Anybody else heard of it? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a new product out there.
Okay.
I swear by it. That's how I get all my business. I use PC Recruiter extension where it'll put the candidate right into my database. Those are the major ones that I've been using.
You're using PC Recruiter, is that right?
Yep.
That extension works only with PC Recruiter.
That is correct.
It's a drip marketing campaign. It's just automated. It's 4 or 5 messages.
Interstellar is
for you.
Yes, Interstellar is a drip marketing campaign interface. But the PC Recruiter one is phenomenal. They just did an upgrade to it, and it works like a charm. There's your plug.
Okay, great. Why don't I do a HireTool ad while we're at it, okay? And if Jim or somebody wants to chime in about how wonderful it is, that's fine with me. This is the time for that. HireTual. You know what? I was listening to a HireTool video by cute little Katie Gajichian, okay? And she says HireTool. Now, Nin Tran, he says it's supposed to be HireTool. But the person he hires to do his ad, they're saying HireTool. So if she says HireTool, I'm saying HireTool. HireTool. It's a full-service sourcing tool. You just heard people here say that they use it, right? You tell it what you want. And like Jim said, it builds search strings for you on all sorts of websites. LinkedIn, Facebook, GitHub, Stack Overflow, I assume. I've never used it there. Anyway, here's what else it does. It takes those results. I can hear the wind, okay? Stop the wind. Stop the wind, okay? It gives you those results, and they're ranked. It ranks them. Best people at the top, worst people at the bottom. Then it tells you who's most likely ready for a move. I don't know exactly what they base that on, but you know what? I know that I can get into another story about that. I don't know what they're basing it on. I know what other people do. They, watch to see if you've made any changes on your LinkedIn page, and if you're using negative words on your social media, it shows you're unhappy. I don't know how they get it, but they tell you this person's more ready than the other people. And then it also does a guess on the salary range. Michael Doran, he says, I was contacted. I'm sorry, I'm reading the same guy. He says, I was contacted by the people from another sourcing tool. I've got an account with them, and they offered me a good deal to renew, but I told them, no way, I just bought a year of Hire Tool, right? And he says when he was at Dropbox didn't pay for Hire Tool. He had to pay for it himself, but it was worth it. He was the best there. He calls it the best sourcing tool on the market right now. He's a raving fan. If you want to check it out, do a demo with Nin Tran. He is a gentle person. He does a full search. He'll take your searches, do them for you, and not push you to buy. He just says, think it over. Okay? HIRETUAL. Thank you. Okay. Any other topics people want to talk about, or should I suggest them?
Where's Bill?
He didn't show. He didn't show.
Kill Bill.
Yeah, kill Bill. That's what I'm feeling like. He didn't show, and his son didn't show either.
Do I still get paid extra? Because it was supposed to be an international show.
Yeah, but you didn't even show either. You were at the orthodontist with your kid.
All right, then we're even.
Okay.
All right.
Is it a? Yeah. Okay. So. Okay. Does anybody want to tell us how they turn off losers? I'm always interested in that, and the reason is because everybody's talking about how recruiting is all about relationships. So you get this person, you're very positive with them, you're talking them up a little, I assume. Some people say you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to, build up their egos too much because they'll think they're worth more than they really are. But you have a positive relationship. Most people do with their candidates. Okay? Then you have to say they're not interested in you. Does anybody want to tell me how they like to do it?
I like to give them something.
What? Candy?
Advice. Send them a PDF. Give them a website. I like to give them something and make them go away so that they feel good about it. And that's
a website? What do you? How to find a job website? They can't find that on their own? Is that what you're talking about?
It doesn't matter what it is. Just give them a piece of candy. The point is you're giving them something so it doesn't feel like you just came to take and filter them. I think this is a huge problem right now for all these incoming resumes. 99% of the people who send you a resume, you either ignore or send a bad email to, they get no value from it. It's one of the things chat will fix for you. How do you make someone better after every conversation? And the answer is
but hold on, Jim. Those are two different things. There's people who just send in their resumes. They're not people that you have a relationship with. Someone who's actually a candidate, especially someone you've recruited. You call them out of the blue. I've got this great job for you. Yes, I'm interested. Okay, let's talk about, what questions you should review before you go in. This is why I think you're going to like it. Yes, it's very exciting. No, we don't want you. Okay? How do you move from one to the other? I think it is an issue. Because you have to be very positive, and then you have to say, no, they're not interested.
Why do we have to be so positive? How many, excuse my language, fucking exclamation points do you have to put in the first email? It is infuriating to see 4 or 5 or 6 because you're faking happiness for them. And then we do it with a text of, I'm so glad you called. The manager's really exciting. Of course you built them up and turned them down. I think those people should be branded more than someone who sends a fax and can be ignored. I think that's...
Okay. Do you take a deliberately neutral emotional attitude towards candidates? Is that right?
I'm not going to get them really excited about it for any role. I'm trying to get them to get excited about what they do, and then we'll see if that's a fit, as opposed to telling them they're excited about this job. I think the dumbest thing we write is, I think this job is perfect for you. You're insane to write that. You're wrong.
I don't like that, but I don't know if Rich Rosen is
insulting.
Here. Why is it insulting?
It's insulting because you don't know anything about the person. How can you tell them it's perfect when you don't know anything about them? When I get that, I just laugh. I was like, great, how do you know?
Okay, I agree with you. I agree with that. But Rich Rosen, I don't know if he's on the line. I think he hung up because we said we couldn't hear him. I posted it today. He said when you call up, you got to have energy. You got to be excited. You got to tell them it's a great job. Rich, are you still here? No, I don't think he is. But he makes money, okay? Rich has made as much money in 1 year as I'm making my lifetime, okay? and that's how he does it. Maybe
there's a difference between Here's the difference between being excited and blowing smoke up their ass, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, you could say, hey, this is, hey, I've got an opportunity that's interesting. I always tell them, I don't know if it's going to be a fit for you or not. Let's have a conversation and learn about it. And then I always tell them, or not always, but 90% of the time I'll tell them, look, most of the people I talk to, I don't place. And then I always send them a short email at the end, what do recruiters do? And the one thing it says is true or false, recruiters can find you a job. False. That's not what we do.
Oh, really? Okay, so you've got a follow-up email. Does it also say, hey, don't mistake me for your personal agent. I'm also recruiting people to compete with you?
In a certain extent, yeah. I mean, look, I said just like you're looking at multiple jobs, my clients are looking at multiple people.
Okay, no, I love this. Nobody's ever come on before and said that, and it's something I've often thought of doing myself, although I thought I would have it on a web page and send them a link. You actually send, when you're finished talking to somebody, you send someone an email, and it says, thanks for speaking to me. I just want you to know exactly what I do. And then it's written right in the email.
I send them a link, and it says how to work with a recruiter. Here's a link on what we do, how to work with a recruiter. Boom. And it goes right to my website.
Okay. And when you call someone up, you say to them, actually, can you give us your sort of spiel? Because you've given part of it, and I don't know how it evolves into that.
I mean, it varies. I've been doing this for so long, it varies. But I say, look, we don't know each other. I want to find out a little bit about you. There's an opportunity I'm working on. I'm not sure if it's going to be the right fit, but I want to find out a little bit more about you. It's in your space, and it could be a match. I don't know. Let's, let's talk about what you've been doing. I mean, that's kind of how I do it. It's fairly general. I don't have a spiel. It's
what I call
conversation.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, it's give and take. And I tell them, I say, look, I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm a third-party recruiter. I work in your industry. I work with a lot of top companies that you probably know. I was referred to you, or I found you on LinkedIn, or what your background looks intriguing. Boom. But I also don't cold call anybody. You saw that. You reposted that today. I don't cold call people. Yep. Email. I email campaign everybody, and then I got responses because I'm sick and tired of calling people and getting no answer, and they're not going to want. You're breaking their day up. So I say, hey, let's have a conversation. Boom.
How much
and I get about
time? But
10%.
Do you research those emails and personalize them? Like you're supposed to now spend a half an hour looking at the person's blog and every footprint he's ever had.
No, it's very generic. All I say is very simply, let me grab my email note here. Hold on a second. It's very simple, and I send this out to everybody. It's the same thing. Hold on one second. Recruiting. Here we go. Through my networking, I ran across your name. We share several mutual contacts on LinkedIn. I've been working in the industry for 20 years. Blah, blah, blah. Your background looks very intriguing and relevant to a recruiting project that I'm working on. Having no idea of your present circumstance, are you open to a quick confidential discussion to determine if one of my projects could potentially be stronger than your current situation? Boom.
Okay.
That's it.
You get 10% for the other 90. Well, for a second, is Maureen still there? Maureen, are you still there? Maybe she's on mute. I got to tell you something. You've got a nice, peppy kind of delivery, naturally, I assume. So you don't have to act energetic. You seem peppy. You seem very positive, just the sound of your voice, the way you deliver it.
Confidence.
Okay, so
I try to be confident.
Okay, I don't know if that's what to me it doesn't sound like confidence. It sounds like enthusiasm. That's what it sounds
enthusiasm,
like.
It's
I
matter of
sense more
fact
confidence than enthusiasm.
I don't know. I feel
Thank
just like,
you, Jerry.
look, I've been doing this a long time.
Saying,
I know my crap. I know what I'm doing. Boom.
Confident.
Oh, your crap or your crap? Okay, look. Okay, what about the other? I'm going to ask you a question. I got to do an ad. What about the other 90% of the people? Do you go back and try to bring them in? The ones who didn't respond the first time. I'm going to come back to you. But first, I want to tell everybody again about my great sponsor, PC Recruiter, and good old Marty Snyder. Hi, Marty. Okay, he's the boss over there, and well, hold on, Paul Lipman. Is there any? Well, let me ask you. Why do you use PC Recruiter? Why do you like PC Recruiter?
Because it gives you an it's got a lot of flexibility. It's complex, but it's flexible, and it'll work for this. I'm an individual guy, works great. A little bit of a learning curve, but once you get it, it works probably better than anything I've been working. I've used probably 5 or 6 different systems. It's one of the best I've used.
And is there anything special? You don't have to name any of the other systems that differentiates it from those that you like.
Roll-up lists, the ability to roll up multiple candidates into into call lists, and the other thing I really like their new improved PCR capture, which you can capture off of LinkedIn, you can capture off of any various websites, the contact information, their website, their resume, and the like. Boom, puts it right in.
And what? Okay, I'm going to stick my neck out here. What about what I've been saying about the support? If you're a little guy, you're just a solo recruiter. Do they give you what you need?
Unbelievable support. Yep. I called in yesterday with a problem. Boom, got it fixed. I come up with ideas. They put them right into the queue, and I found a couple of my ideas that I gave them a few months ago came out in the new PC Recruiter capture. So I was pretty happy about that. And I'm just a little guy. I pay less than a lot less than $100 a month. And, I'm a nobody, and they're helpful. So yeah, one size fits all, like you say, right?
Great. There you go. There, Marty. There's an ad, okay? You got your money's worth today. Yeah. But
Can I get a free ad?
You call him Marty?
Marty Snyder. You know Marty. Do you know him? Does he ever talk to you personally?
Martin. I didn't realize his friends called him Marty.
Martin on Facebook, okay? We call him Marty. You can call him Marty, okay? You can call him Marty. Thank you, Paul Lipman, for that. Now come back to the other question I had for you. What about those other 90% who don't respond to your email? Well, how do you go back?
I don't send one email. I send 5 emails out over the course of a few weeks.
5 emails. Okay. Do people get mad at you? Do they get mad at you?
I get 1 remove a month, maybe. Do they get mad? Yeah, so what? I mean, I get a little aggravated. They get mad, but I don't care.
Okay.
If
are you
somebody
sending
marks
out
me as spam, I go to them on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I unfriend and unfollow them.
Yeah, but do they know?
It's
do
not
they know
spam,
that?
though.
I know that it's petty, but screw them. I need my pride back. I have good stuff to send you. Don't mark me as spam.
Well, thank you for telling us about that, Jim. It makes me feel a little better about my little petty grievances. But Paul Lipman, I'm not sure that. Are you sending out a general email to your whole your whole database every couple of weeks? I don't know. I thought this was a. Okay.
No, these are people who I think would. These are prospects.
Okay, and so you do it over a few weeks. You don't mind waiting a few weeks to bring in all the candidates for a job.
Yeah, a few days. If I can't use them now, I can use them later. They're in my niche, so I'll use them later.
What is your niche? Your niche?
I work technology, infrastructure, sales.
Oh, so you're like Rich.
Yeah, like Rich and the other guy who was.
I mean, not Rich Recruiter.
Yeah, Rich. Yeah, Rich does software mostly. He does software sales.
And you're using Interseller for that? I just scheduled a demo for them. They look fantastic. I like the way they're set up.
Yeah. I was using QuickMail, which was really good too, but it got a little pricey and a lot more complicated. This is a really good little product.
I've got one called SendPulse that lets you send it. If they didn't open it, sends another one. And then, if you choose to, you can send a text afterwards. And it compiles
that's kind of
the whole
cool.
campaign together. So it's you
Jim,
really have to
you
use the list.
Jim, you called that a drip marketing campaign. What exactly is a drip marketing campaign? It's just like Paul said. You send out repeated emails on one topic.
Right. It's a you have 3 or 4 different emails that go out at different times. So if you send an email out and they don't open it, you send another email with a video. If they open that one, then maybe you schedule a call. If you send 2 emails and they don't open it, maybe you find some way to share something to them on Facebook or something. It's just a matter of trying to figure out what it is that people like. And a lot of it's just changing things like subject lines. You can do different kinds of subject lines. For candidates, it's the same as sending a short email, a long email, then an email, and then a phone call. Because eventually they'll pick up.
So, what kind of money should someone be paying a month, generally speaking, on for a drip tool like that, drip marketing tool like that?
You should spend 10 years in marketing before you attempt it.
Yeah, right. Do not try this at home.
Recruiters doing this. We'll jack it up so much, it's going to be embarrassing.
Does Michael G. Cox, Adonis, use something like that? I got to say, he had lots of things. He had a lot to say on their show. I got to tell you, is that one of your techniques as well, Michael?
No, not here at work. I do have something. I have used a drip campaign before, but no, not here.
Okay. Do you endorse it?
Yeah, if you're good at it, it works amazingly.
And so, Paul, do you write like 5 emails at the beginning of the search and schedule them into this tool? And is that how it works?
It's the same email for any search.
No. I mean, no. But you send out repeated emails. Jim suggested that the emails change. If it's the second email, it's not the same as the first.
Second email. Yeah. I'll send the second email, and it'll be regarding the first email. It'll just say RE, whatever the subject line is.
Don't do that.
It's a fake RE.
Yeah, I do it all the time.
The first one you capitalize and you have a subject. The second one you do something that looks like you're just talking to them individually.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. There's different schools of thought. Look, I studied this with a marketing guy who developed a really good another program I was using, and he gave me some really good tips on that. And one of them, which is just do an RE, and they're going to open it. And you just say, at the end, you say, hey, maybe my timing's not right. You do a little takeaway close. We'll talk again later. Boom. And I'll say, that would be my last one. My second to last one would be, hey, here's one reason why you should always take a call from a recruiter. And I give them a Glassdoor article.
Now, you're able to do this yourself, and it works for you, right? How much would you pay from your fee to a marketer to do this for you so you could stay on the phone?
I can actually – it's already set up, so all I have to do is just get somebody, a researcher, or I just do it myself all day long while I'm talking on the phone or whatever. But, there are people out there that will do these campaign management for you.
But how much would you actually pay for it?
How much would I pay? It's worth honestly, it's worth probably $1,000 a month. Easy.
$1,000 a month. So here's the problem with almost all of this.
But is he going to pay that? That's
no one will pay $1,000.
Look, if I'm getting a fee for $20,000 and I don't have to do anything but just be on the phone and let somebody else do it, it's probably worth that much. But I paid, I don't know.
So how much would it cost for somebody good to pay attention and do that?
Say again. What do you mean?
It would be $5,000 to $10,000 to have somebody who was any good work that on a regular basis and extend it and improve it. But no recruiter would ever pay that, even though it would almost guarantee your revenue. It's what you're doing and it frees you up.
Well, look, recruiters are notoriously cheap. Look how cheap we are, right? We don't want to spend $800 for LinkedIn when it's making us, making people a couple $100,000 a year. I mean, come on, that's just stupid. You spend the money, you invest the money, you're going to get the money back.
But this is a challenge.
But hold on, Jim. You said before I forget, I want to ask what Paul, what's your subject line? The first one.
Quick question about your job.
What is it?
Real quick question.
Quick question about your job. Do you send that to their work email?
I send to wherever or whatever email address I have.
Okay, isn't that dangerous if you put the word job in there? Doesn't
who?
For them?
Yeah, the some filters will pull it out.
Why is it dangerous for them? We had this argument on LinkedIn, on Facebook so many times. If they respond to me over their own email, they're an idiot.
Okay.
I mean, over the work email, they're an idiot. That's their stupidity. Why getting email? Look, if somebody sent me something in my home address, would I get mad? Why would I get mad? I mean, it's dumb.
Yeah. Okay.
I've had
the thing is, but Jim also raised the issue.
Block jobs.
Yeah. If you got so we use the word jobs in there. It might go into the spam filter, right, or the junk file. That's
it might alert somebody.
It could. Well, no, so what if it alerts somebody? What's that going to do? The response that you have to worry about.
Michael G. Cox, if it alerts somebody, what happens? So what?
Well, no, you could be working at an organization that isn't very friendly, and it could put somebody at risk. Again, that's just worst case scenario, and that has nothing to do with Paul. Just saying, there are a lot of jerks in the world, and some of the people that you contact may be working for one of them, and you're putting them in an awkward situation.
The only way they're in an awkward situation is if they respond.
Well,
I don't think you don't send it, but there are jerks out there.
Yeah, they're jerk companies. Who wouldn't work for a company like that? I don't know. Look,
someone who's got to earn a living. Yeah, when you read all these career articles, it makes it sound like everybody's got the choice of wherever they want to work. People don't always have that flexibility. They've got financial obligations, and they have to take what they can get.
Emotional blogs, cowardice.
Well, those blogs are written in like from a utopian perspective and don't take very much into consideration.
I think you're right. I think that's very true.
I think we live in a hypersensitive world, and people just need to quit being pussies, personally.
Also true.
There's a little bit too much language today.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
No, I started it. My fault.
Kittens.
Hold on. I started the show, which I'm going to delete it because everybody said even Audra Knight said that the sound was terrible. But I started it off with stuff about bondage videos. Nobody blinked an eye. They don't care. They'll hire you if you post bondage videos on your Facebook page. So it sounds like lots of people aren't that sensitive. Maybe the owners of companies are a special category. So a question, though, about these subject lines. I think I like yours. What I like about it is that it's very straightforward and simple. Everybody else is saying, well, you got to have stuff like Flaming Hot Cheetos, or I like to go camping at the Yellowstone Park as well.
I don't know. I got a 54% open rate.
I thought you said 10%.
No, 10% response rate, 54% open rate.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Do you have your own DKIM and SPF suggestions?
I'm sorry, I don't.
I'll make sure you're doing it right. Well, I won't share it with the rest of these guys, but if you're curious about what those numbers mean, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I guess we're at the end of the show, so I'm going to mention thank you for taking over while I was off the air, Jim. Jim runs sourcingworklab.com. Sourcingworklab.com. He's giving you a recruiting class online every Monday afternoon. Check it out. You got Michael G. Cox, Adonis, who's here, Paul Lipman. Nice to talk. I don't think I ever spoke to you before. You're great on the phone. I enjoyed talking to you. Bill Boardman, I'm kind of glad you didn't come, Bill. I'm glad you didn't come. Everybody can hear it. I had a better conversation with these guys. So there. And you didn't bring your son either. I don't care. Bill Jr., or whatever your name is, Frank Borman, right? I won't make fun of the poor young guy. It's not his fault who his dad is, okay? And Maureen Sharib, the greatest, most famous, let's say. I don't know if she's the great. Area code 703 was cut off. Who's that? Is that Derek Zeller?
Probably.
703? Probably, yeah. It's too late for him to complain. Okay. And Jerry. Jerry hasn't said too much. But, hey, everybody, thank you!
I'm here, Jerry.
Andy, what did you think of the show today? I missed it. I was involved in trench warfare.
Man, I got to tell you,
Hey, Animal, mute the person that's doing the beeping.
Okay, area code 203. I'm off now. I'm going to have some lunch.
What are you going to have?
Don't you worry about that. Just handle your show.
Hey, I'm not worried about it. I was seeing if you were interesting. Andy Gregory, I'm sorry to have...
Yeah, no problem. No, I understand. We have to take care of housekeeping. I'm sure the guy's a nice guy. As a guest, I'm just going to say it was kind of on the plainer side of vanilla, pretty much. I mean, it really was. I mean, I just it was. I don't remember a show being more, wah wah. I mean, it's just kind of I'm indifferent.
Bill was okay, Animal was okay, but the show itself,
same old thing.
As a recruiter, there's nothing I'm going to now take to my desk, and I am in a state of constant listening, learning, and applying. That's my thing. I got nothing from this show. I'm not going to do anything new. That's what I'm looking for in my learning phase of my career.